Muted.
Yeah.
I was, but now you are.
One of them give me money. Fuck them things.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this...
She don't get shit.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you.
What's up, everybody? I'm
Jay.
And I'm Main One, and we're Unplugged Free Your Mind, the show where we discuss an array of topics, current events, world news, and from an unbiased, unfiltered, and unplugged point of view. Welcome back, episode 20.
I know you're out there. I know.
I love your energy right now.
Hey, I'm on one right now. Welcome.
I see. I love your energy. It's great. It's very much so following up with a beautiful sunny weekend.
Brand new week. It's beautiful outside. Hey, rocking my new shit.
Yeah.
Everybody go check it out. Got my new shit.
I noticed. I was going to put in my order, but I was looking for something specific. I didn't see it, and so I wanted to talk to you about it, but we'll talk on the side.
Okay.
So it was a great weekend. Foo, how was your weekend, honey?
Normal, typical.
When there's a pause, there's something else.
Nah, I had to go to Baltimore for my uncle's memorial Saturday.
Oh,
it's just like, but this from a year ago, because they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it before
with Corona. Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, you had to wait this long, but it was cool. So I missed the day. I missed the day of making money, but I missed the day of making money for a good reason.
Good to hear. What about you, Main One? What'd you do this weekend? Where was the basketball game?
The basketball tournament was in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Oh man, how'd that go?
We stunk up the joint.
As in, you guys did well?
Nah, we stunk up. We stunk up the
literally. Because you remember there was a time when certain language, stinking it up, funking it up, you won.
Nah. We stunk up the joint, and I was a little perturbed. I had a little Facebook rant last night, and so season almost over. So
did you get a lot of response from the rant?
No, not really. I just wanted to get it out. I just wanted to get it off my chest. I didn't. If you responded, you responded. If you didn't,
if you're not, yeah.
So, it is what it is,
Well, I had a great weekend.
My question,
weekend.
Are you with the other coaches?
Huh? What'd you say?
My question is, are you connecting with the other AAU coaches so you possibly can get your son playing on their team so you can get them off this bullshit team?
Yeah, we got some offers, but the season the season is almost about to come to a stopping point. So, got a couple of offers, but we'll see. This AAU has not turned out. It's the horror stories that I heard about. So at his age, 12U, 6th grade. I mean, the exposure that they talking about they getting these kids, it ain't really that. It's just about money. It's about, it's a money grab at this point. So if he want to play for another team, I'll let him play for another team. But, I'm just work on, developing what he's supposed to be getting developed from them. So, yeah, I got a couple people who hit me up to train their kids. So, that's working out. So we'll see. we may get 365 Elite going.
That's great. That's great. I had a great weekend. I worked all weekend. I must say I did a Commodore's Yacht Club party Saturday night with some of the most entertaining people I've ever had to entertain. They were more entertaining to me than I was to them, I think. There were people pulling up literally on their boat to come and dance and hang out. And then Sunday I had a wedding. The wedding was great. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every moment. It was a situation where I'm so happy to see people back into their elements without the mask, without limitations, without everything. I seen people dance for the first time with no inhibitions.
Mm.
So that was great. That was everything. I think the icing on the cake for me was, although I was working, I had a visitor. We had visitors from Texas and Houston, Texas, to be exact. And this is someone that I met 5 years ago, not in person, but have heard about her, and I think we've talked through a common friend, of course. And it was so nice to be able to meet her in the flesh. And if she's okay, come sit right here. Come sit right here.
We got a guest?
Just a minute. We got a guest. She's not going to be here the whole time because they got to get back to Harlem. But this is Smoothie. And Smoothie is from Houston, Texas.
I am.
Houston in the building. What's happening?
Everybody show your love for Houston real quick, please.
Houston in the building.
Yo, honestly, I've heard so much about this young lady for the past 5 years. And you know, it's just one of those things where I wish I wasn't working and I wish I could have spent more time. But the time I've spent, she is Texas all the way.
Is she a singer?
No.
Oh, she said negative. She was like, no, you don't want to hear my voice. Okay, cool.
She is a mutual friend, and she is literally visiting New York. And listen, and I'm kind of curious, how is Texas right now with the mask and everything?
Oh, Texas is pretty much open. It's not, people are over the mask, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, you still have people who do wear their mask just because they want to be conscious about what what they have going on or what other people have going on.
Right.
But I do think that a lot of it comes from just people just over the pandemic as a whole. They just ready to live their life. They're ready to get out there, touch people, all this other good stuff. So they coming out of it in Texas.
And I think you guys remember when I was in Georgia, it was the same thing. People just weren't doing the whole mask thing. Like they was really trying to get back to life. So I'm sorry to have to put her on the spot, but I've known her for 5 years and it's a very special moment for me.
Yes.
So I wanted her to come on just to say hello, and just to talk about, how it is in her state versus New York right now. Because hell, since you've been here, how has it been?
I mean, it hasn't been that much different, honestly, because I feel like New York is almost in the same area as Texas with being open.
Trying to get back to
normal. I think this is what everyone's doing right now because it's so hard because we've been so disconnected from people for a whole entire year.
Yeah.
And people don't know how to really interact with each other.
Yeah.
So now people are learning how to interact like, oh, I'm supposed to say hi to you again. Oh,
without the mask.
Got it.
Without this.
I can touch you. Oh my God. So I feel like this is like a new learning that we're having to do. So
well, personally, I think you came at the perfect time for us in New York because, honey, a few months ago, you would have hated it because, even at LaGuardia and JFK, they're checking you at the door. You just cannot not have the mask. So thank you so much for coming through. Sorry to put you on the spot, but Mahogany knew. Mahogany, thank you. Hi, guys. Any questions?
My girl there, Mahogany there?
Yes. So I've had such a great weekend. Yes, Mahogany is here. She was shying away for a second, but let's see what happens.
There she go. There she go. That's my girl. What's
How y'all
happening?
doing? Nothing much hanging in there. How you been?
Chilling. I'm living vicariously.
Let him hi, fool.
How you doing?
Say hi, fool. Okay. All right. Hey. Everything good, man? Good
No,
seeing you, bro.
You know how I do. I live vicariously through you on Facebook.
Both of you do.
Take care, man. It's good seeing you,
All
King.
right. Good seeing
All
you.
right. You
Bad.
too.
Bad. Thank you so much.
Yeah, whatever.
Yo, so
Oh, what am I
I've had,
doing?
I know, I've had such a full weekend, man. I wish that I didn't have to work like so much and so hard, but it was worth it, you know, to see that wedding through yesterday. It was a 5-hour wedding, but we made it. And then the night before, the Commodores Club party, it was just good. So I had a full weekend.
Okay, that's what's up. Hey, look, man. I'm glad everybody had a good weekend, and so let's get with the. You got any current events you want to talk about? Anything?
You know, the only thing, you know what, and I was so entertaining that I didn't come on before the show, but I have two things, and one of the things that I do have is that I was looking at the fact that Joe Biden made the summit meeting this weekend and to talk to Vladimir Putin. So, are you guys following that?
It's much to say about nothing.
Well, this is the first time that a president at his stature has come to meet with Vladimir Putin. Technically, someone through the years, even in his vice presidency, he wasn't fond of him at all. So I thought it was interesting the fact that he had to sit with him face to face. Now, I can't report on what happened during the meeting and how the meeting went because of the fact that I was a little, I was a little busy, but it happened. And I'm curious, like now myself, the first thing I'm going to do is to see how this meeting actually went. I was thinking maybe you guys seen how it went. Well, and if you did, I'm curious.
When I see stuff like that in the media, I always ask myself, why are you meeting with him? Because when Trump was in office, it was Russia bad. So now why are you meeting? Not so much of
well, why is because he is trying to mend relationships with NATO. And so to mend that relationship, I'm not going to say that it was like totally disagreed, but what I'll say is they had the U.S. on, we're not on board for NATO and what we should be doing as a nation, because Trump kind of put them on that saying, hey, you know what, this ain't happening. Yeah. So it's just one of those things where I'm curious to know, the conversation that just may have happened between someone who was already vice president at one point handling foreign affairs versus now.
Well, I mean, I pretty much think how the conversation went was, hey, you can keep painting me as the bad guy and Russia as the bad guy, but just keep passing legislation that let me do what I need to do. I mean, he just just signed something where that pipeline from Russia can go through Germany.
Right.
So,
Well, everything is always done with good intentions or some type of other underlying something. So I sort of seen it as that. I didn't know about that until you just said it. Now I remember what it is we kind of need. But there was a time in Trump's presidency where, meeting with Vladimir Putin was very much so, you don't do that. That's not going to happen. This ain't it. So I'm very curious to see how the conversation turned out. Okay. I'll do my due diligence and I'll report on it. I'll report on it next week. I will. Entertainment news. There were a few things going on in the media, one of which I think everyone knows about. Yeezy is dating another model.
Which model?
What's her name? I can't think of her name. Let me look it up. But he's dating someone who I think Bradley Cooper already has a baby with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I mean, they
they
say
were
Kim.
caught in France, and it was his birthday weekend. And of course, media happens to catch them, and
Is
it
she
was.
is she cute?
She's not cute. She's beautiful.
Okay.
She's
So
beautiful.
hey,
She is not a Kim Kardashian. From what I can see and what the media says, she has no work. She is purely the way she is, face, body, everything. She's like that.
okay.
She's actually the opposite of a Kim Kardashian.
Okay, I ain't mad at him. Hey, look, do your thing, man. Do your thing.
Yeah,
She out here. I think they say she dating Van Jones or something like that or whatever. So
who is that?
he's a political pundit.
CNN.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay, now I know who. Black dude that cried.
yeah, the crying dude. Yeah, when Joe Biden won. I'm so. The fuck out of here, man.
How you feel about that, Phil? I love his zero F's face all the time. But it's the entertainment. Another thing in entertainment, I want y'all to know. One thing that's gonna come down that chain line is now your boy Cedric the Entertainer and
Cat Williams.
Cat Williams.
I saw that.
Cat Williams said that Cedric the Entertainer on something as old as the
King's
King's
Comedy.
Comedy, he closed with, he says, Cat Williams said that Cedric the Entertainer closed with his joke. What's the joke? So it's the joke about being in a whatever,
The spaceship.
which is that, and they play the music and they're driving, da 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 whatever. Technically, it was actually the joke that leads into doing that.
Yeah.
But your boy said, Cat Williams said that Cedric the Entertainer stole it.
Yeah.
And Cedric the Entertainer, if you guys, I know some of you don't follow that sort of Instagram. I do. And so Cedric the Entertainer said, yo, listen, that joke is about 30 years old. It precedes Cat Williams, has nothing to do with him. And he's sorry the fact that it may hone in on a current joke that he actually does. Personally, I think that he answered it with a lot of grace, because I'm sorry, that's what happens with a lot of these jokes, and that's what happens between comedians. Sometimes they do go back and forth and say, hey, that's my joke, but the joke is told in a different way and done in a different way. With Cedric the Entertainer, he actually put the whole, that on it, the music, the props, everything. So I think that's what set his joke aside. Personally, I've never seen Cat Williams do this joke. Have you?
Yeah. No, I can't say that I have, but that's why you have a lot of comedians that say they don't watch other comedians, not because they don't enjoy comedy. They just don't want to get, influenced by other people's shit. So,
Yes.
Like I heard Gary Owens say, I don't watch other people stand up because I don't want to get influenced in my jokes with something I may have heard and subconsciously is in the back of my mind and it get in my shit. So,
Makes
whatever.
sense to me.
Shit, Gary Owen
Which
needed that.
that makes a lot of sense to me. And I don't think that's the case, but listen, I can't say I've heard and seen everything Cat Williams did. So my opinion is biased, but I've seen Cedric the Entertainer multiple times. I've seen him 3 times live. I've seen him, online doing his that. And I can consciously say, I don't think he's copying nobody.
Yeah. Nah.
He's country naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before we get to the next that, I do want to remind everyone, June is Music Month. And I was hoping that we can take some time out. I have someone who would like to come on at some point, not right now, but at some point, and talk about the music in New York, just whenever.
Okay, maybe we can do it next week. Next week gonna be our closeout show for the before we take a break. So maybe we can do that next week. All right. What you got, Fu? Any current events?
I'm a read. Can y'all hear me, or is it a delay?
Nah, we can hear you.
I can hear you.
I got a story I want to put out there, and y'all know I'm a talking cold.
Okay.
19-year-old Simone Scott was excited to get her second dose of the experimental drug by the manufacturer that starts with an M on May 1st. Now her mother, Valerie Kramer, is arranging her funeral. Simone, a first-year Northwestern University student, suffered a case of apparent myocarditis-induced heart failure on Sunday, May 16th. Despite extraordinary measures to save her, including a heart transplant, she died Friday morning at Northwestern Memorial Hospital in Chicago. Now her parents are struggling to understand what happened to Simone and why they had no idea that the experimental drug might cause myocarditis. I lost my only daughter, Kramer said Sunday night. I never thought I'd have to give up my daughter for the greater good of society. And when Illinois opened the experimental drugs to younger people, she quickly made an appointment. She took it upon herself to get the shot, Kevin Scott said, but she suffered serious short-term side effects after her first dose April 3rd and never fully recovered, her parents said. Doctors almost immediately diagnosed Simone with myocarditis, heart inflammation often caused by viral infection. They did at that point suspect that it was myocarditis, Kramer said. They were thinking it was a virus that had attacked her heart, but her lungs had been severely damaged, and the immunosuppressive drugs necessary for her to avoid rejecting a transplant led to severe lung infections. After a few hopeful days, her prognosis dimmed. Her parents never completely lost hope, but on the morning of Friday, June 11th, her doctors told them that they could no longer control her blood pressure and that they should come to say goodbye. At 11:19 a.m., Simone Scott died. She was 19. Kramer and Simone's father repeatedly asked whether the hospital intended to report the case to VAERS, the federal system, to report the side effects. Doctors did not seem particularly interested in doing so for most of the time. Simone was there, Kramer said. With their daughter gone, Simone's parents are now hoping that her story will at least raise awareness of the potential post-shot myocarditis. I never knew that there would be a risk for someone as serious as this, Kramer said. I would have wanted to. In the meantime, they left them on the loss of their child on May 12th, 4 days before Simone collapsed. Northwestern required all its students, with very limited exceptions, to have the shot for the fall 2021 term. When I read that earlier, I said I definitely wanted to read it on the show because I think that there's too many people just accepting what's going on, not realizing what's going on. You just had a 19-year-old freshman in college thinking she's doing something for society, and now she's gone. Is that going to happen to everybody immediately? No. Is it going to happen to a bunch of people long term? Yes. But it's the fact that they're putting so much out there that it's okay. And now I'm seeing commercials. I'm in Jersey right now. I'm seeing so many commercials, and they keep saying how it's safe and effective. My biggest question with making that statement is, how would you know? How are you making that statement blindly? But if it hasn't been tested enough, why would you say something like that? If you're going to be transparent, come out your face and actually say, we can't give you the side effects because we don't know, because the trials are going on right now, but they can't do that because they pushed that this was actually approved by the FDA, when in actuality, we all know that it's not. Now, with me saying all this to everybody out there that's watching, you can agree with me or you can disagree with me, hands down. I just want people to make an informed decision. That's why I go as hard as I do. And it's sad that people are just blindly doing this without checking certain things themselves. Like, you didn't ask yourself, why do I have to sign a waiver? Why do I have to sign a waiver for something that's supposed to be safe? And something that was said in that article, she had to start taking medication that actually ended up destroying her lungs. So now you got the heart problem and you got the lung problem caused by the problem of taking that shot. And now you want to take something that might combat the sickness that you got from taking the shot, and that attacks another organ. This to me is what they planned on doing. They're not going to stop. And unfortunately, because of the severe case of people with cognitive dissonance, it ain't going to matter. And it's sad to say, but stories like that I came across, you're not going to see those types of stories too often because they're not being reported to the VAERS website. And people are so enamored with what's going on, they don't want to accept the truth that people are actually dying from the shot. They're going to blame it on something else, which I find ironic because originally when people were dying from the sickness, they said it was always the sickness. Now when people dying from the shot, they want to blame pre-existing conditions. Which one is it? So to me, it's just not fair. It's very disheartening. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be a lot more stories like that. Hell, I just posted a video. I shared a video. I might have sent out to y'all on IG where there was 2 doctors doing like a commercial saying the same exact thing of how it's safe for pregnant women to get it. Really? But y'all know how I do. That's my soapbox on that. It definitely is a sad story. I feel bad because I don't think anybody should have to bury their child. It actually just happened to someone I went to high school with. She just buried her child last week, and he was 26. So I just honestly, like I said, I just feel bad that this is going to be a recurring theme, and I just hope people are going to be able to handle it. It's going to be tough on a lot of people.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I just had a conversation with my boss in the band, and we were talking about how things can get into having to be vaccinated or V'd or whatever. I'm sorry, V'd to perform. And I told him my stance on that, and we did have a private conversation, and I did tell him my stance on it. And the irony out of the entire conversation was that he's not even doing it because he travels the world. He travels with doing golf and everything, working, and he's not a proponent for it. And then he told me to go on to a search engine, DuckDuckGo, I think it is. Is that it? Have y'all ever heard of that?
That's the search engine we both use.
So he goes, Jay, I want you to go on to that, and I want you to look up, the vaccine, the V or whatever, and just see the latest news on it, the real latest news. And I really did find things that I just wasn't prepared to see, and it was things that are not reported on. Right now, there's a big campaign to get those of us who are not V'd up. Mm-hmm. But what the search engine does is actually it informs you of things that's going on currently that you don't see in the media, because the media in a way is sort of being sorted and guided or whatever, so you don't see everything. And so with this, you see everything. So you see the effects of it. You also see, I must admit, like you also see, there's whatever percent of people in the US who's V'd up. And then you see the people who aren't, and then you see the other stories. And what concerns me the most is those other stories, because those aren't the things being reported on right now in major news media. And I think that, if people are going that route, and again, I'm gonna say the same thing that I've said since we first started this podcast. I am not going to sway people one way or the other. I just want people to make informed decisions. That's what we do. We are that type of media. And from what I see and hear with the statistics, I want people to be well informed. If you have any underlying condition, anything that causes inflammation, it could affect you. It could. So, I'm not saying not do it. That's not my shtick at this point. My thing is, be informed about your underlying conditions, what you're going through, how healthy you are, and you make that informed decision. Or you can do like what the three of us are always campaigning on, You can live the type of life and eat right and exercise and get some sleep and this, that, and the third. Like, there are other things that you can do to combat the virus, you know? But I'm not going to sit here and say, don't do it. I can't. I'd be honest with you, and y'all can agree or disagree, but I will never sit here on a platform and say, don't do it. I can't do that. Not in good conscience. I say, do what you think is right for you and yours. But what we're doing, we're telling you there's other media out there that you just may not see because this campaign is so big and it's so national, you know, that it's just telling you, go do it, go do it, go and do it. But you need to do your own that, because you know your health. You know what you're going through. Other people don't know that. The media don't know that. Inform yourself. Do what's right. What y'all think?
Well, I got a question for you. You said the person you singing with is traveling the world, but he don't want to do it. How is he traveling the world if he ain't got it?
Okay, so he is very transparent to the people that hire him. And he tells them, I'm not doing it. And he's also doing, to me, the moral thing. He's safeguarding himself on flights. He's safeguarding himself while he's on the course. He's doing all that. And that may not be enough, but I'm telling you, this guy is so good, they probably don't damn care. They probably don't care.
No, the reason why I'm saying
that he's going to follow the lines along being safe.
No, but the reason why I'm asking that is because other countries are saying that you need it along with tests. That's why I said that.
Well, he's traveling the U.S. He's not going outside.
Oh, okay.
All right. That's what.
Like he told me, he goes to Florida. He's in Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, of course. He's based out of New York. He's going as far as Washington, Alaska. You know, so he's not being like private with the fact that he's not. He lets them know, okay, this is what it is. He's testing before, he tests after if they require it. So to me, that's taking all precautions. He's taking all precautions. Yeah. And that's what he's doing. He's caddy. He's into golf. So he's doing what he needs to do to accompany the person that he's working for. But he's not getting that.
Yeah. Well, that was a sad story. Condolences to that young lady, to her family and everybody. You know, that's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm so brain dead with this talk with this these stuff. I you know, I'm at the point now. If you get it, you get it. Whatever. As for me and mine, we ain't getting it. So it is what it is. But on my current event, you know, I always do the political corner, so I'm going to give y'all some stuff that y'all might not know. So I don't know if y'all knew that the one of the new administration's campaign promises was $15 an hour. He said, we're going to get $15 an hour. The American people haven't had a wage increase since 2007. I think that's the last time it was a wage increase. So, of course, that didn't happen. They shut down the $15 minimum wage. Democrat Joe Manchin said, "Nah, we ain't doing that." The irony in that, because most of us voted Democrat. But anyway, so now in the news now, more than 100 lawmakers led by the Justice Democrat herself, Ocasio-Cortez, pushed to increase congressional staff salaries. So they're pushing hard to increase the salaries of these some interns, legislative assistants. So they're pushing hard for these people to get a pay increase. A pay increase, they want to increase the budget by 21%. Now, some of these people are making a legislative assistant now is making $56,000 a year. Now, we got majority of the American people are making way less than that, and they didn't even want to give them an increase, but they're pushing to give these congressional workers an increase in their wages. See how unfair that is? But y'all continue to participate. So ask yourself, why do you think they get it and they push so hard for them to get it? And the American people, they say, man, fuck y'all. Y'all don't need no pay increase. Why do y'all think that? Could it be they don't give a fuck about y'all? Could that be the reason? Could that be the reason?
It's always easy to say they don't give a fuck about us, and in a lot of cases that just may be the case. But in a lot of ways with coronavirus and the economy, I have to go back to the roots of studying the economy, bro. And so they can run on a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, stimulation is what's needed. You can't promise something that technically you can't deliver at the time. Now, maybe they thought at the time they could deliver that $15 an hour, even at places, fast food places or whatever. But at the end of the day, someone has to sit back and say, hey, listen, let's look at the economy and how things are moving around. And so to me, they have to go off of that, because what you can't do is run on this political that and implement it. And the economy is not ready for it, because all you're ready for is for a bigger inflation than what we're into right now. We're already inflated.
Oh, you mean the inflation where they printed up all this money for these for the stimulus? Because where'd that money come from?
It's money that we're gonna have to pay back at some point.
They went like this. They said,
that's what it is.
Y'all need 1.2 trillion.
Let me say this, and I'm gonna say this even with the PPP. I'm gonna speak on this real quick. This is not money that does not need to be paid back. This money will be paid back. All stimulus money. It's gonna come. Taxation is real, right? They're gonna find it one way or the other to get all of this stimulus money back. This ain't free money. Don't be sitting there thinking, oh, I'm a small business and I can take this grant or this loan or whatever, because I want people to understand this money will be paid back one way or the other. It's not free money. We're not that type of economy that can just saturate whatever and say, oh, we can come off this. No, trust me, everything that we're doing right now, from your McDonald's coffee that you get every day that was once $1.50, that's now up $2.50, everyone's gonna feel that. Everyone's gonna feel that. That's how the economy works.
Well, yeah. Well, I understand that. My thing, my point in saying that is the hypocrisy in the, oh, we can't push for that, but we can push for certain things, but we can't push for this. That was my whole point. I understand about the $15 minimum wage, but when I see you going hard for a particular issue and don't go hard enough for another issue that you ran on, that should make people upset that actually participated. That actually said, that put my trust in you to say, oh, you're going to push for this. And yeah, you ain't really pushed too hard for this, but you're going super hard on that. Y'all super bipartisan on the shot. Y'all, it's both parties like this. They interconnected with that. But when it comes to, giving the American people a boost up, it's like this. You get this all the time.
Yo, you can call it what you want, but at the end of the day, I'm looking at this as regular economics. And I ain't saying they're giving us the fuck you, but what I'm saying is the money got to be paid back one way or the other. So
you're right.
I don't get too excited about money that they're giving away. What I'm looking at it is our money as taxpayers. See, honey, we've already paid this money to the feds. Every state pays X amount of dollars, right? New York, which I am privileged to live in, pays a lot of money into the reservoir, so that, because our economy is different. We're paying a lot already. And so we're paying a lot in reserve versus states like Mississippi, who's not paying much to the reserves. So maybe you can say, hey, we can pay out this money. But I'm always looking at the fact that this is not free money. That's my shtick. This is not free money.
Mm.
No,
We're gonna
I
pay
agree.
this together.
I agree with what you're saying, but the fact of the matter is they can create money and it not be a problem for them based on their convenience. Because
in what regard, though? In what regard?
I say that like this. You can come up with money to pay for shots, because that stuff got to get paid for too. You can offer incentives to get the shot, like the mayor of New York talking about you can get a hot dog, a hamburger, and some French fries, but you can't use that same food to just feed the homeless. So the whole thing about it is they pick and choose how they want to do things. Period.
Absolutely.
Because
at the end of the day, the homeless will always be homeless. There will always be homelessness.
No, that's true. But what I'm saying,
but what they don't want to see is the coronavirus killing people as a regular thing.
Nah. But this is what I'm saying when I make that point. The fact of the matter is, before all this started, we was already headed towards a recession. That's a fact. I made a video over a year ago saying they're going to use this to say this is the reason for the recession that we have and everything like that. Then once a certain person got in office, they was printing money like it wasn't nothing. And it kept going and it kept going and it kept going. And then most importantly, like Maine said, they come up with this money whenever they want and it's convenient. But when it's actually an issue with substance, the money can't be found. They can find money for war. They can't find money to fix our bridges and our roads. They can find money for this shit, for these goddamn shots. But our education system is garbage. And they pick and choose. It's always been like that.
Honestly, to be honest, I think how states allot their own budget. Every state has a budget. And the Fed, that they can report to the Feds to say, we need X amount of dollars. I don't think that that's on a national level. I think that's on a state level.
But the fact of and a lot of people don't, 1.3, we pay Israel $1.3 billion annually. Do you know, does anybody know where that money comes from? We pay it. That comes from us. That comes from taxpayers.
That's foreign affairs.
That comes from taxpayers.
Where that money come from?
It's foreign affairs. Our Fed, everything that comes out of your check that says federal goes into foreign affairs.
Right. So my point is, we're paying for other countries' affairs when we're top 10 in homelessness in our own country.
Absolutely. But again,
California's GDP is bigger than Russia's. Their gross domestic product is bigger than Russia's. So a state has a bigger gross domestic product than a fucking damn country. And they are leading this country in homelessness. Why is that? Is that something that could be fixed? That's something that could be fixed like right now. Because guess what they're doing for immigrants? They're setting up hotels for them. They said $87 billion is being set aside for hotels for immigrants.
In that particular budget. Yeah, I can see that.
But homelessness has been here forever.
Homeless and I don't mean to be, I don't want to sound like, I'm not like very much, in tune to what's going on with homelessness. I don't want to sound like that. I don't want to be that person. I am not heartless. I worked in a hotel. I seen vets. I seen veterans that, we allotted their monthly whatever from the government so that they can have somewhere to live and not be homeless. No, homelessness is a problem. But my point is, honey, homelessness will always be a problem. My thing is, now we're getting into the economy that says you have X amount of dollars for that. You have X amount of dollars for the next thing. People who are strung out on drugs, their programs, people who are whatever, like the states are allotted X amount of money to say, come to the feds to say, we need this in our budget. Include this in our budget. You know, how the states do that is how the states do that. It's not I mean, let's not get on the federal government unless we know that the federal government.
Yeah, but I'm not saying it's going to take the federal government by itself to do it, because when you have a party who is, well, California is a Democratic state, right? And the Democratic
doesn't matter. Homelessness and other shit is.
Let me get my thought out. So if California is a Democratic state and the Democrats say they are the party for the people, how is this happening in your state? Why aren't you going to the Fed and say, hey, we need X amount of dollars for this so we can get these homeless out off our damn streets, so we can get right down the road from the damn Staples Centers. If you walk 2 blocks down, is a fucking damn skid row of fucking homelessness right next to right down the fucking road from the goddamn Staples fucking Center where they fucking have $1 million players are playing. Yeah. How the fuck is that fucking happening?
I'll tell you how. Are those same people in these same states that you're talking about getting out here to vote for certain people in office?
Jay, what I'm telling you is a Democratic state. They got their people in office. Their people are in office.
Yeah. I think you hear me, but you're not listening.
Okay.
Are these people out here doing it? Hell, I think Arkansas is a Democratic state.
But this is what
maybe I don't know. But at the end of the day, my point is, do you have these people out here saying this is who we want, this is what we want, and this is the budget that we're going to vote upon?
But and to your point, this is what I'm saying. And this is why I tell y'all that continued participation in this is foolishness. Because if I'm running the campaign and I say, this is what I'm going to do, and I get in office and I don't do it, then now you just you up shit fucking damn creek.
Because as a politician, you can get into office and say a lot of shit and do half the things.
That's exactly.
It depends on the people who are actively involved in these politics and these decision makings to actually make it happen.
But okay.
So you could be a Democratic state all day, and you can still have things vote a certain way. That's my point. The people have to get involved. We have to change things, and they don't. I know. Everybody always say, "Yo, we can vote. It don't matter, whatever." It matters. It matters. It matters who you put in place as your chairman of the board, as your alderman. Who are the people governing the budget for your county, which relates to your to your city and to your state?
So if I'm an alderman and I'm a city councilman and Maxine Waters is over my district and I go to her and I tell her about these issues, and she doesn't do anything about this because she has one of the poorest districts in California, but she's been in office for over 30 years. What does that tell you? That tells you one thing.
You get enough people in place and you get her ass out of there too.
That tells you one thing. Any person that you get up to run against her, they're not going to win because they're going to throw.
You get enough people involved, Jermaine.
Jay, that's not how politics works, baby. They're going to the Democratic Party throws so much money around that you won't know who the fuck running against her until it's time for the damn vote. And then you get there and you
don't know because they're very uninterested. They just think that there is a Democrat running and then they trust. But my point is you get people involved. You get people involved, and it does start from that lower level. And it says, you know what? Maxine Waters ain't doing it for us because here's the 10, 20 year statistic of where we are.
Okay.
And where we could be. Okay. So hey people, you got this person that you can potentially vote in and say, hey, they can do something different. They can actually be a vote for the people. Not saying they will, but you can definitely.
Who's gonna say that? Because if I don't have enough money to if I'm just barely making it with my campaign, if I don't have enough money to get in the campaign, I can't buy TV ads, I can't buy TV spots, I can't buy nothing. So if the people don't know that I'm freaking running, I can have a fundraiser and say, hey, I'm gonna be such and such spot, come support me or whatever like that. But is it gonna be as big as Maxine Waters does this on TV?
Keyword you just said.
What?
If the people know.
How are they going to know, Jay, without advertising?
How can they not know if you make that your specific platform? If you start off as like the freaking secretary of whomever, but you got a political platform to work off of. And you get the right people in the right place at the right time all the time. And it may not be your term, yeah, I'm saying like coming up. But you make people aware of where they are and where they could be based off of your platform. And you get those people involved, you never know what will happen. I mean, I just may be talking, what ifs, but I know I've changed my votes on a lot of platforms based on that.
Okay. Well, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Jay, I want to ask you a question real quick based on what you just said, to see if you have any knowledge of how the game is really being played. Do you have any idea how much it costs to run a campaign?
Kind of, sort of. Not really.
Okay. When he just brought up the point about not having your name out there, you cannot, when you start talking about running on the national level, the people who actually want to do some damage on the national level, the reason why we never get those people elected is because they don't have the money to run against the machine. Hell, Bernie had the money to run against the machine, but as soon as that
when you say the machine, are you still saying that Trump is president? I just want to clear this up.
You're talking about the political party machine. When you start talking about the party affiliations, Bernie Sanders was about to run away with this election until the establishment Democrats said, no, we can't have Bernie win. Then Clyburn said what he said in South Carolina. As soon as he said it, the Bernie train was done, because now the establishment Democrats was backing Biden, even though he was an inferior candidate. Anybody can go back and look at that. Biden was getting murdered. His now VP put him on blast in a debate. Put him on complete blast. Now she his biggest ally. So when we start talking about this machine, the only way things can get done for people is for the people to do it and not to depend on the establishment, because they don't give a fuck.
But do you agree? But do you disagree, folks, that on a certain platform with enough people at the lower level cannot change things?
Lower level.
Look at Georgia.
Wait a minute. The lower level, you're right, but the lower level, it's already been established of what can be done. We talking about
but because now you're putting us on a national level as presidency, and I was talking about lower levels in government, which moves on.
That's not how the conversation started. Because basically we was talking about getting things done. Getting things done, you need federal money. The federal government, they don't give the money. That's the whole thing.
Federal money is based off of what, Fu?
It's based off of taxes.
Off of your state's budget.
But
what put together the state budget?
Wait a minute. You're right about the state budget. But once again, what we're saying is, on a national level, with them distributing that money, they distribute money based on how they want to do it, but they can print money whenever they want to do whatever they want to do. That's a proven fact. Ain't no getting around it.
At the end of the day, Fu, I don't know if I agree with that, because I would need so much research. But at the end of the day, things are based off the state's budget.
Okay.
It is. And requests and what comes in and what's needed the most. I'm not arguing with you. This is not an argument. All I'm saying
we're having a debate. We're having a debate. It's just having a debate.
The little political science that I do understand. Things don't start at the top level. It starts right at the state. It starts at what state needs what the most, and that's what that's what I was alluding to with New York being as one of the highest states that put money in the Federal Reserve for these stimulus checks, for whatever. Mississippi ain't doing that, and if they put in money, but I mean, no offense to anyone in Mississippi, but I'm telling you, at the end of the day, the state tax that's collected and what's put into the Federal Reserve, and you can watch Cuomo talk about this, to say this is the budget set, for them. So how these politicians do things is based off of the state's budget. And okay, the next question is how you get that damn money. Well, you got to elect people who's putting together a budget that is fortifiable.
And that leads into my point I was making. If you think you have the people in place to do it and they're not doing it, then what do you do? Your answer to that was, well, you find a candidate that can run against them. But when you have the candidate that's already been in place for 30 years and they're operating the system how the machine wants it to operate, they're not going to move them. So they're going to push all the money into that candidate where it's going to squash any other candidate. That's why you never see an independent candidate get a lot of tread. You never see a Democrat that comes out to have these progressive ideas get a lot of tread, because that goes against the machine. It goes against what they want. So that's what I say when you say you got to have the right people in place. When you think you have the right people in place and it doesn't happen, then what do? That means you're sliding down a razor blade into alcohol river. Yep. All right. Well, we can talk about this all day. I mean, we'll put a bow on it. I mean, we'll agree to disagree. I just thought that,
I would love to have a conversation like this with someone who's majored in political science, or someone who really understands the saturation of the politics and the money. Because at the end of the day, what you can run on as far as presidency says, that state agrees that you can do this, you can pass these laws, you can do this. And then you have states that says, we can't, we won't. That's not our state. That is not what we're doing.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll put a bow on that. It was a good conversation. I think we'll lead into our main topic, which I think a lot of people came for to talk about. I thought about that. We were brainstorming and thinking of a topic, and we kind of touched on relationships a little bit last week. But I kind of wanted to, I saw something this morning. Our boy Kevin Samuels. I don't know if a lot of people know who Kevin Samuels is, but he tweeted or he retweeted, and I lost the tweet. I thought I saved it, but I can't find it. But I kind of found something that led into it, and so he was saying when you're dating. So I just start out with this question, and so why is finding a good relationship so hard nowadays? That's the first question. Other than money, what do you bring to the table? Third question: has capitalism ruined our relationships? And before anybody chimes in, I want Fu to play this video that I got, because this was part of the Kevin Samuels, what he was talking about this morning. Oh, I got to play it. My bad. I always mess up with that.
You might have to rewind it and put the sound on. Maine, you might have to rewind it and put the sound on.
Say what? What happened?
You might have to rewind the video and put the sound on.
I got the sound on. Y'all can't hear it on y'all end?
Nope.
Sounds all the way up. Damn it. That's it's kind of messing up my mojo.
Pull it up again, and let's see if it works.
So I'm sharing.
And
my screen.
side note, before the video played or whatever, for everybody out there, you good?
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
I just think it's funny how the tables have turned. It used to be men with such high standards of what they wanted in a woman. But plot twist, these women are demanding more, no longer accepting the bare minimum, no longer accepting bottom of the barrel shit. We have standards now, and these men are hurt by it. So many Black men in the comment section saying, oh, you have all these high demands, but what do you bring to the table? Good question. Studies have shown that Black women are the highest paid and the most educated. Studies have shown that Black women are the highest paid and the most educated. That Black women are the highest paid and the most educated. I myself graduated with my associate's degree at 18 and graduated from college with my bachelor's at 20 with a degree in communication sciences with an emphasis in speech and language pathology. I live on my own, have my own car, make about $70,000 a year, and don't have any kids. So I'll never ask for what I can't offer. And as far as what I'm bringing to the table, I bring me, and you can't sit with us. So many.
So Kevin Samuels, what he said was, okay, you know, when you hear a woman like this, if you're dating a woman like this or you just met a woman like this, he said the first thing you should do is run for the hills. He said, because the first thing she's doing is spouting out her degrees and accolades and all this kind of stuff like that. And he said the first thing you should do before you do anything else, he said, is run for the damn door. That's what made me think of this topic. So that I'll go back and I'll re-emphasize. Well, what did y'all think about what she said?
First and foremost, I'm going to say this, and I said this on Overflow.
Hope it wasn't weird, but I closed everything. I'm fine.
There is no way that, well, for me personally, I just don't understand the hype with Kevin Samuels and how these women are listening to him. How are you taking advice from a gay man that's giving you advice on your man that's going to be in a heterosexual relationship? I don't get that. I don't. And for me personally, I could care less that he's saying something that may be true. Who gives a damn? Because Dr. Phil can give advice on how to lose weight. I can't take him seriously because he's fat. That doesn't make any sense. He can spit some true shit that he saw, but he's not acting upon it. So I'm good. So that shit, I'm sorry. I just can't understand that. But I guess this is the world. This is how we living in 2021, where it's a gay dude giving heterosexual relationship advice. I'm sorry that it boggles my mind. If anybody takes offense to that, I apologize, but I'm just being real. And as far as what she said, the crazy thing about it is, number one, you should always have standards, whether you man or female. That's first and foremost. And second, it's not about spitting out what you've done and all that other shit, because if the relationship is there, if the love is there, none of that shit shouldn't matter. I just hate the fact that everything is so transactional. You got your degree, cool. There's people out there that don't have a goddamn degree. They're making money too, but they're not always talking about it. It's not that goddamn serious. Your money, your job and your status doesn't define you when it comes to me in a relationship. Right. And I hate the fact that so much shit has become so transactional. And it's been a build up to this, mainly with the independent woman. Somebody like me, I'm old school. I don't want my significant other to be lifting and carrying shit. I don't want them to be doing certain shit, because to me, that's just not right. If I'm there, I'm taking the garbage out. It's little shit like that. But you got a lot of women, their responses, I'll do it. I don't need you. What the fuck? Is it really that serious? But that's the shit I've gotten to. And that shit frustrates the fuck out of me.
Yeah, I'm so gonna sit here and co-sign on everything that he just said. I'm co-signer. I'm a co-signer on everything that he just said, you have accomplished those things as a woman. And I'm going to speak from the woman's perspective. I'm a woman. I've achieved certain things I haven't achieved. I don't want those things to be, I don't know, like, she can do this or can't do this based on that. I've done those things for me. I didn't do those things just to be in a relationship. I've educated myself because I wanted to be educated, because education is something that I want. It is a self-preserving thing. It's a self-accomplishment. It's all that. And I would never use that against anyone that I want to be in a relationship with. When I want to be in a relationship with someone, I mean, yeah, we're going to have a conversation or whatever, but I'm not going to make that the deal breaker at the end of the day. In other words, I ain't going to block my own blessing in a relationship with a man, because I don't know, first of all, where this man came from and where he's going. Perhaps I've met him in a situation where he's finding himself and he's just now getting there. See, I started to find myself in my late 20s. Now imagine, younger people or whatever moving through life, trying to get through life, and they ain't got there yet. I would never dispel that. But one of the things that I would say is this: yes, do I have standards? Absolutely. Let's have a conversation. Can you have a conversation with me? I've had conversations with some of the most smartest people that I've known who's not college educated. And I can say that. Some of the best conversations that make me think, they think, and it works in relationships and far beyond. It is not, it's not my that. I'm not going to use my book education against someone who's not. It's not fair, because maybe they didn't have that opportunity. Maybe they're not there yet, or maybe they're just doing their own shit. And I'm going to say this, we talk a lot amongst each other. We're not master degrees. We don't have doctorates here, not unless y'all ain't told me. But we have the type of intelligence that makes us want to seek something bigger, something newer, something, that. I'm not going to hold that as a standard against somebody that I'm dating. I'm just not. I'm going to see where their mind is. I'm going to see if we vibe, and I'm going to go there. What I'm not going to do, we're not going to sit there and I'm going to say, hey, listen, I have this degree, I have that degree, and I'm super smart, because in all actuality, there are certain subjects where I'm not very much educated, and I want to be, and I want to learn. That's what I am.
Can I want to say this. I want to say this to people out there, and I want to mention this because of my history in school and certain things that have been said to me on a personal level. I've had people say to me that I'm actually articulate and things like that when I speak, and the way that I speak, certain shit, and just, I guess, the way that I come across. I graduated from high school with a 1.9 GPA. 1.9. I graduated from college in 2002. No, excuse. What's it? Hold. I might be mixing it up. I think 2002. I'm almost certain it was 2002. Or 2001, something like that, whatever it was. All I can tell you is I took like a year and a half off, and it ended up taking me 7 years to graduate from college. And my GPA in college was like a 2 point something. So the book shit, to me, it doesn't define a person. Hell, I'm listening to how Kwame Brown is shutting down motherfuckers all over YouTube right now. He didn't go to college. He went to the NBA straight from high school, 18 years old. But it was his upbringing. I think that's what tends to be forgotten. And what I'm starting to see now, and I hope nobody takes offense to this either, as far as the ladies out there, the things that are being said by a lot of women, y'all grandmother ain't say that to you. There's no way your grandmother said that shit to you. It's fucking impossible that shit was instilled in you that way. Now, I understand that there's some young mothers out there and everything like that, but that shows to me that those certain young mothers shouldn't be teaching their girls how that shit goes. There needs to be male figures going around too, also in these women's lives, because the male figure can teach them how to be a lady. And that's the whole thing. And they wouldn't dispute that. At least that's the way I feel. But it's about balance. And it's also about the village raising these children. But what they're starting to see is just society. Social media and TV has distorted a lot of shit, straight up and down. Because what I do notice, and I don't know how y'all feel about this, the conversations that go on like this in our community, that shit ain't going on in any other community. I don't see that shit happening like that at all. When you start talking about the other communities, what they do, especially when we want to talk about the upper echelon, a lot of times those marriages are already arranged, especially with certain groups. They already figure this daughter is gonna marry that kid. They doing that shit to keep that shit in house. But with us, that's not even a consideration.
Well, when you talk about those elite situations like that, their stuff is a little different because it is transactional, like you just said. That shit is transactional. That shit ain't really about love. Like the arranged marriages, like they had in Africa, like you see on fucking damn TV, like Coming to America when they arranged marriage. That's all about lineage and keeping a generational wealth and shit like that. But when I heard that video, when I heard that this morning, notice what she said when it was posed. She said, "What do I bring to the table?" Notice what she said: college education, her own car, her own place. Notice what she didn't say: kind and sweet, uplifting, supporting. What? That's some shit you could bring to the damn table that's worth way more than goddamn your degrees and your damn money. Because guess what? Most men don't mind providing for their lady. So college degrees, income don't mean much. But it's just disappointing how we have reduced our men and our women to just being a wallet and a sexual fucking object. And then we wonder why it's a disconnection.
Yo, you've absolutely. I can only sit here and agree because listen, I don't want any woman looking at this at the end of the day to say that I disagree with, bettering yourself and doing what it is for you. But what I can say is there's a certain part of me that did not do it just to be in a relationship. There's 95% of me that said, you know what? I need my education. I want to be educated. I want to learn things. I have the capacity for it. But it is not something that I'm going to bring to the table and say, hey, I am here and you need to be here too. And fool, you hit that shit right on the nail when you said there are certain people that's how it works. And whatever works. But for us, I don't think that it should be a, decision factor as to whether or not you want to be in a relationship and marry that person. I think personally, there needs to be more, not what you bring to the table in that regard. But like you said, Jermaine, I'm understanding. I am 100% behind my man.
Right.
I'm supportive. I have the capacity for that because in essence, sometimes what happens is some of us, not all of us, ladies, I ain't saying all of us, but with some of us, we get armed with education and we get armed with a certain type of intelligence where we don't have that capacity to really go into the whole, I can support him no matter what he does. I can have a doctorate and he can just be a garbage collector and I can support the shit out of him. That's what he does. That's his profession. May not be mine, right, but that's his. And I'm not going to be sitting here looking down on him. I don't look down on that. This man is making, a day's work and vice versa. Even if it's him, he's making all the money or whatever, and you're doing something blue collar or whatever, he shouldn't be looking down on you. Like, this is not a transactional type of relationship. We work. We're good for each other.
Yeah. I don't think that enough people focus on the balance, because you have a lot of people out here with some stressful ass jobs along with stressful ass lives. Yeah. And a lot of times, to me, their significant other is their peace. So them bringing that to the table helps the relationship go. And they can appreciate each other on that level because that significant other knows I'm their piece. I'm going to make sure that I'm always going to be that. And then you have a lot of women out there where they are nurturers. They generally do care. And of course, everybody doesn't have that option with their significant other, but some women still believe in that. Hell, there's a lot of professional women. When they go to work, they fucking bulldogs. But when they come home, they are women. They are not that same person they are at the job. But I don't think that there's certain women that can turn that off the same way I don't think there's certain dudes that can't turn that off. And people need to learn how to leave that shit outside of your household.
Yeah, and I think, and just to elaborate on what you're saying, because I don't want anyone to look at this and say, hey, I am this person and I don't turn, or I shouldn't turn, and this, that, and the third. I think what you're saying is, you know where you are in your relationship and your family. You know you want to take care of business. Everyone have strengths and weaknesses. And it's so funny that I just had this conversation with someone I work with, who's male. And we do the same thing. I have my strengths as a performer and I have my weaknesses. And I have strengths most of the time because of what is, put on the table. Those are my strengths. But he's in a place where we haven't honed in on that yet. And it does not make him terrible at what he does or weak at what he does. But what it means is we haven't put it out there for him yet, to go there. So, I don't know, bro. I kind of feel like it's such a touchy fucking subject because some people watching this will think one way or the other. Like I'm a woman, I go to work every day and then I come home and I do the same things every day to take care of my home because I can. It's what I want to do. Not that I have to do. I want to do. It's for me.
Yeah. I don't think it's a touchy subject. I think it's a real subject that a lot of people they're not willing to look in the mirror and, as our good friend David Goggins always say, have a self autopsy. A lot of people not willing to do that. They're not willing to say, hey, this is where I'm fucked up in my life. This is where, like, a lot of women don't understand. I keep attracting the same ain't shit dude because it's an ain't shit, something ain't shit in me that I need to damn fix. And they just ain't willing to fucking damn say it. Same with a fucking damn man. I keep attracting the same broad, the same kind of woman. Because maybe it's some shit that you need to fix inside of you. We need to do some internal fixing inside of you before you even talk about getting in a damn relationship. But a lot of people not willing to do that. And just to go back on that video with the young lady, ideally men aren't impressed by a woman's income. I mean, real men ain't impressed by a woman's income because she's not expected to spend her money on me. That's just not how I go. So we're not impressed with your degrees. Yeah, that's cool. You got a degree. That's cool. But we ain't saying, hey, I need a woman that got 2 degrees and this, that. No, that's women saying that shit. I need a man that had this degree, this job. He need to be making $56,000, $6,000 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so that's all I say on that chick. I just found it interesting coming from, hearing her perspective on that. And, and I think she echoes a lot of sentiment of a lot of women, nowadays. I think that's how they feeling. So
I don't know if she echo a lot of women.
I
think she may echo women of this day because there are a lot of women out here that's like, sure, they don't care. At the end of the day, you want to be with someone. You want to have someone who's right on the same page that you are. Treat me right, do me right, and I'm gonna return that. And that's what this is. And it's not hard. And it's not about your degrees. What it's about is how you treat me and how I'm treating you. And it has nothing to do with nothing in between. You can have a great career. That's great. You can date dudes off of Wall Street or, businessmen and all that. They can be pieces of shit. And then same thing for somebody who's working in construction. or working in blue collar, whatever. They can treat you like shit. It's at the end of the day, the balance says you want someone where you can remove all of those different that and say, you know what? I like you, you like me, and this is how we're going to treat each other, and this is what we're going to do to each other.
See,
that's what most women should look for.
And you hitting the nail on the head. But you know, most people in the dating scene, they operate from a lower consciousness level, because notice everything she said was superficial shit. It wasn't nothing, no higher level thinking, no higher level nothing. It was like all.
So she's trying to bag her a man,
right? But
when you're trying to bag a man, you got to go and put that out there to make that seems like that is something of an attraction. But I think most conscious level thinking people, they're not with that. They're they'll see it and it may sound okay at the time, but at the end of the day, can we hold a conversation? Can we mesh on a level that has nothing to do with our professions? Because at the end of the day, let's push all of our professions aside and let's see if we even like each other.
Right. So to one of my questions, has capitalism ruined our relationships?
Yeah.
Because I would say, and I answer it first. I would say in our society, most women would rather submit to a man's social status and wallet rather than submit to his spirit.
I could see why you. I definitely could see why you said that. Hands down, I could see why you said that, because. But I think that's more so from what we see. I think they portray. Right. I think they portray that a lot.
Right. Well, and I say that because look what's being introduced to our young daughters. Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion. If he ain't got this, he ain't getting this. He ain't get. This is what they're seeing. This is what they're living by. A lot of them. This is what they're living by. This is how they're going into finding a man or a mate. This is how they're operating.
I just find it. The thing I think about is it's the age group that's even talking about this. If you 16, 17, what you mean I'm not going to get with nobody unless they can do X, Y, and Z for me? That means you want a grown man then, because somebody your age, they generally not going to have that. So where are you getting that from? You're not even allowing yourself to be a young lady or whatever, and that's where those we used to call it going on tour back in the day, where the dudes, after high school, you going back to the high school and you picking up girls. So that's something that's always happened. And a lot of girls fall into that trap. And like you said, they seeing certain things on TV. So I would say if you in high school, it shouldn't be coming out your mouth of what a man can do for me financially. That doesn't make any sense. You ain't got no bills any goddamn. What the fuck is you talking about? What you want? I mean, I know things have changed. You got cell phones. So obviously, I guess you want them to pay your cell phone bill, even though your parents should be doing it, or you should be doing it your goddamn self. Getting your hair done. Now, I don't know if you even noticed this. Have you noticed young girls and they motherfucking manicures, yo?
Mm-hmm.
When we was in high school, they might have did their nails themselves. They painted them motherfuckers. They going and spending money to get their nails done.
Yeah.
Word? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And Heather Taylor, please do me a favor. That group that you mentioned in Telegram, if you can, post the link in the comments so I could join that group. I would love to see the information that's in that group, if you don't mind. And for everybody out there, as you're watching, if you're not watching on YouTube, please go like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit that bell so you get the notification whenever we do a show. We definitely would appreciate it.
So Mandy says maybe we should start saying partnership instead of relationship, because choosing a relationship is definitely about supporting and loving each other.
Right. Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
I agree with it.
I agree with that.
Thank you, Mandy. She also said, I think Black women started acting on their feelings of being rejected by our kings. And
Amen.
Ooh, that's a can. That's a can that we can absolutely open.
Okay. I can smoke a bag. I can smoke a bag of that.
But here's my thing with that. I think our society allow outside entities to villainize us against each other. Like, think about it. When the quote unquote welfare shit happened back in the day with us, the man couldn't live in the house. If the man lived in the house, you lost your privileges and shit like that. You had to sneak around and do all that shit. My question is, for white people who was getting that same type of money, was the man rejected out of that house too?
I have a feeling they were held to the same regard. I have a feeling. I'm not saying it's so. I've never been in close to someone where that happened, but definitely it happened to us. So I don't know.
Right.
If there's anyone before you comment, Jermaine, if there's any female, listen, but this is what I want to say. We are not arguing. All we're doing is having a candid conversation among men and women. And, as you guys can see, I'm the woman. And it's not that I can't hold my own, but I'm very interested in anyone's other take in this. So if you want to come on live, please do.
Yeah. And this is the issue. We got to be able to have discourse in dialogue without it being combative. We can have discourse in dialogue without yelling and calling you out your name and disrespectful. That's the problem. We can do that. We have to show people how to do that. See, because you get these bad images on TV from housewives and all these other shows where they're fighting and the women fighting each other and all this damn shit. No, this is what you get from our show. You're right. You get honest dialogue, and it's not combative, and it's I think it's needed.
I'm definitely gonna say something in a second, but I do want to read the comments. Heather Taylor says, I think bringing women into a more independent place actually makes people start looking at their emotions.
Okay.
What does that mean?
I agree. I think that when we start having these conversations, that it really does bring everyone to the table to start having a more candid conversation about that. But this is what I want to say. Yes, there are very educated women here and there. But then now let's talk about the women who are, educated in the same line. But they are more traditional in the sense of, you know what? I know what I bring to the table. I don't have to flaunt it in your face. I'm a basic person. I work every day. This is what I do. And I want to have the type of relationship where you respect what I do and I respect what you do. Like we are both along the same lines per se.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what you do, you could be a lawyer, you can be whatever, but every day we get up and we go to work. So, I don't want to have to flaunt that in your face to say, hey, I am of your equal. It's sort of like women, at a certain point saying, hey, I just want to be equal. I know I'm equal. I know I am. But I'd hope that the person that I'm dating sees me as that, be that being a lawyer or you're just collecting garbage. I am your equal. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at this point. I work. I am this. I want to be seen as your equal. In other words, I don't want you to be dating me and all that and say, hey, oh, she has a job, but whatever, get my dinner on the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do not want, I wouldn't want it to be a roles thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making money like you, and both of us bring something to the table, and we're both equal in that regard, and we both can be happy.
Yeah. I mean, when I speak, and I talk to people, and people ask me questions or whatever, I speak from experience. I come from have looked myself in the mirror and adjusted things in my life. A lot of people that know me they see it. They see the transition that I made from, you know, where I used to be. And it took, and I'm still on my journey. I still have some fucked up shit that I got to deal with. You know what I'm saying? But I can admit, you know, my flaws. See, you can ask a lot of people, name 5 flaws, 5 of your flaws, and they'll give you some superficial shit. Oh, I don't like my eyebrows. I don't like this shit, but they won't give you no deep shit. See, if you want to be a real man or a real woman, you have to conquer self. I'm big about that. I'm big about conquering yourself because it's all about internal shit. So you have to conquer your trauma. You have to conquer your hurt. But most people's perspective of relationship is built off of unhealed trauma. And if your demons keep living rent free in your spirit and they help you make decisions, you're going to be a train wreck for anyone you come in contact with, whether it's an intimate relationship or a regular relationship. So we have to start learning how to internally heal. If we don't internally heal ourselves, how can we be good for somebody else? How can you expect to be in a relationship with somebody else? I'm not going to be in a relationship where I have to burden your fucking damn shit that you ain't healed from. No, you got to heal that shit yourself. Why I got to bear the burden of that? So before you talk about getting to the relationship, you need to fucking damn do a self autopsy. You need to look yourself in the mirror and find out some shit and really dig deep and say, what's the things that I need to fix on myself before I go any further. And that's what we get wrong in a lot of these relationships. You're muted.
I was saying, in relationships, sometimes we don't deal with ourselves. The most valuable thing to bring into a relationship is ourselves, and we're not dealing with it. So I just want to quote one of the comments that says, Heather. Heather says, we're all deprogramming what society has told us how to be and how to act, blah, blah. Women are processing the guilt and shame of being independent. Men are processing the anger of not feeling valued.
Okay.
Which I'm like you, main one. I can smoke a bag of that, because there are situations that you can get in where they, you guys feel, and I'm saying you guys as men, you may feel that way, but it's not always that way. It's like, okay, I'm relishing in my own triumphs of life, the things that I've, accomplished as an independent person, but I'm not devaluing what I want and who I want to be with. Yeah. It's not devaluing. It's just me saying, hey, I've done this, I've accomplished this. That's great. So I feel you, Heather. I feel you. It's like women, we have to sometimes bear the burden of valuing things and, knowing how to massage certain things so that it's not so that it doesn't look a certain way. Whatever, go ahead and say it.
Nah,
Come on.
Nah, the way you said massaging things, I'm like, oh, she done went there. Okay, no problem.
Well, it is sometimes.
Nah, it went over your head what I said.
Oh, that didn't go over my head. But definitely, sometimes, that's true. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong, but what I'm saying is sometimes you have to go there, because you could be dealing with someone who's in a different situation, and you're in a different situation. You're a man too, like, and you don't want to overshadow anything. You want that person to know that they are just as important, just as, valuable, but you're just celebrating your accomplishment. Mm-hmm. I don't think anything is wrong with that. And I think that if we take out some of the, competition in relationships per se, we can get there. We can get there.
I like that. I like what you just said. I like what you just said, because that's really toxic in our community. Really toxic, because we always competing with each other
for no reason.
Not and I don't think I don't think that people really understand how the shit goes, because you got certain people that are in relationships, partnerships, whatever. They may be very, very touchy-feely. You got some people where one person is quiet, the other person is very lively and talkative. And when you're around other couples, certain couples are looking at you like, why ain't we like that? Why we don't do that, this, that, whatever. And that's not the way it should be, because it should be about what you're doing. The main thing is just to learn from each other. That's why you got to start asking those types of questions. I mean, it's great to know somebody who's been married for 40 something years, because you want to ask questions of how did it go? How were y'all able to do that shit? And I know one couple that's been married for as long as I've been alive. And I know another couple that's in their high 30s as far as being married. So to see that is amazing. But when you have certain conversations, you also understand that just because they've been married that long does not mean that it's been all great all those years. There's going to be times where it's just basically just like with anything, you're not going to like each other. You love them, but maybe you don't like each other. But the question is, are you going to linger on that shit? And I know in this day and age, one thing that I appreciate, and I would definitely be willing to do also if my significant other suggested it, I don't have a problem with going to counseling. So, it is what it is on my side when it comes to that. And I think that people aren't willing to accept outside help because a lot of cats think they know everything. And I think that's a problem too.
Because of what everyone says that it should be. And that's not always the case in all relationships. Like you definitely, it's a different situation for different people.
Mm-hmm.
But with the same values, I think that relationships can go even further.
Yeah. And when I say compete, I don't mean, and that's a good example of couples. You saying couples compete, but you got a lot of women out here that compete with their man's ambition. They compete. They compete with their purpose. Compete for their time. Prime example.
With their man's ambition, yeah.
Prime example was Aisha Curry. What, last year or a couple years ago, where your husband Steph Curry, dude, what the fuck? And she was like, well, sometimes I feel like I need another man's attention. It's like, bro, what are you talking about?
I'm glad I ain't hear that, because I'd have been like, what?
Weird.
I'm like, what are we talking about? Sometimes I like for other men to, just show me attention, to see that I still got it. It's like, bitch, you married to Steph Curry. Excuse me for calling her a bitch. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Bitch, married to Steph Curry.
It's like, really? What else do you want? I mean, shit like that bothers me, because it's like, bro, you Aisha Curry. That's all. I mean, now whatever you do on the side, we ain't know who you was before Steph Curry got on the scene. Why is you? What are we doing here?
In other words, what did you do to get the public's attention? Listen, we can go on about this forever, and that's a very good example of.
Heather said, "What is social standard these days?" Nobody knows, because hell, we have to start writing our own, and that's the thing. We've been running off somebody else's social standard for so long. We have to begin to write your own narrative. You have to write your own standard. And stop living by society standards.
The fact that you just said what you said. And this is something that we touch on a lot. As a society, we have to start creating the actual narrative. We have to stop allowing society to put out there what they want you to believe and how they want you to move and everything like that. And certain people follow that shit. Yeah. We have to police ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves.
Yes.
We have to focus on putting out our media what we want to see, and we have to use our fucking brains, period, on every type of level to turn off what it is they want you to go ahead and check out. I gotta tell y'all, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Ever since all of this stuff happened with the shot and them pushing, how they've been pushing with this pandemic, me not watching the news as much as I did, I feel like a different person. I feel like an entirely different person. I'm completely disconnected from that. Totally. And I'm like, damn, this shit, it's like a weight lifted off your shoulders. Thankfully, I have a free mind, which is good. But everybody needs to unplug in some type of way from certain things so that they can be themselves. Because there's a lot of people out here putting on the face of somebody who they're not. You claim that you really want to be that shit, but you think you are, but you ain't.
I think that's the key word. I think that our platform is different, and I think it's relevant. I do think that people should unplug.
Yeah.
Unplug and do you.
Yeah.
Really see the world for what it is. And then if you need to like not be following the standard and following news media, you'll go a long way.
Yeah.
You will.
And if this last statement don't apply to you, don't take offense. But how are you going to be socially blind and writing relationship standards, expectations?
There you go. Listen, this was great.
Yeah, man. Good conversation.
Yes.
So with that being said, we're gonna end it on that good note. Any parting shots before we head out?
Of course. We always got something to say in the end. At the end of the day, I want people to, educate yourself, on every level, relationships, socially, with your children, you're in a relationship, like get your own information, inform your own self, and unplug and make rational decisions. At the end of the day, you'll be happy you did that. You'll be happy that you didn't go along with whatever was pushed out to you in a, news media push or whatever. You're going to sit there and say, you know what? I thought about this and I'm not going to do this, or I am going to do this. You're going to be happy with yourself in the end because you made a rational decision and you did not let the media do that for you. You made an informed decision because you made that. That's my thing. Thanks. Thank y'all for watching.
Nice. Fu?
I'm going to put it out there and I hope people go find it. There's either a picture or a meme with Charlie Brown and Snoopy sitting down, like looking into the sky. And Charlie Brown said to Snoopy, "You only live once." And Snoopy said, "That's not true. You die once, but you live every day." So for everybody out there, live your life the way you want to live it, with no inhibitions. I'm not saying go out there and wild out and smoke and drink so your damn heart and your liver and all that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is live your life the way you want to live it on your standards, and don't allow society, the government, or anybody else dictate how you move and how you think. You got a brain. Since you have it, use it.
Use it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Good night, y'all.
Night, everybody. See y'all next week.
All right.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone.
And on another motherfucking thing, I don't like